Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome, dear devotees. We are reading Canto 2 Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter number 7, Scheduled Incarnations. And today we are starting from text number 4.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Canto 2, Chapter 7, Text 4. Atre apatyam abhikankshata ahatushto tato mayaham in itiyad bhagavan siddhata yad pada pankaja paraka pavitra deha yoga dim apur ubayim yaduhaya yadya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great sage Atri prayed for offspring, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, promised to incarnate as Atri's son. Dattatreya, Datta the son of Atri, and by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many Yadus, Hayayas, etc., became so purified that they obtained both material and spiritual blessings. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So here we are talking about the scheduled incarnations of the Lord. And the next incarnation mentioned is Dattatreya. So we see how Atri Muni, he was son of Brahma. He prayed to Lord to have Lord as his son so that he can serve the Lord in Vatsalya Bhav. Prabhupada writes in the purport that the relationship between soul and super soul can be in 5 different ways, 5 different rasas: Santaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. So there are 5 different ways a soul can have a loving relationship. See, Lord loves us, but for that love to become a loving relationship, there should be love from both the sides. And that's why these loving relationships are categorized. The 5 main rasas is Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. So Madhurya ras is as a lover, like gopis of Vrindavan, Radharani. They see Krishna as a lover. Vatsalya ras as a parent, and that is what mentioned here. Atri Muni, he was in a Vatsalya ras bhav. So he wanted Lord as his son. So as a father, he can serve the son. Devki, Vasudev, Yashoda, Maya, Nanda Maharaj. So Vatsalya Bhava, where they can serve the Lord in a parental bhava. Sakhya ras is as a friend. We see Sudama or Subala, Sridama. They want to serve the Lord, but in a friendship way. Dasya, the example is like Hanuman, who wants to serve Lord Ram in a service mood. And the next is Santaras. The 4 Kumaras, they are categorized in the Santaras. They peacefully adore the Lord. They like the sages in the meditation. They sit and they appreciate the Lord. That is the Santaras. So here, Dattatraya's incarnation is mentioned where Atri Muni, he prayed to have Lord as his son. So the sage Atri Muni and Anasuya, they performed great austerities and prayers so that the Lord was pleased by that prayers. And Lord appeared as the son of Atri Muni. He was known as Dattatreya. Prabhupada mentions in the purport that because Lord was pleased by the prayers of Atri Muni, Lord gave himself as the son of Atri. Lord gave himself as the son of Atri Muni. Many times, and this is the very common argument when we go out and preach or when we talk to non-devotees, they argue that how is it possible कि आपके भगवान के भी माता है, पिता है, how is your Lord is like a 2-year-old boy, 5-year-old boy, crying, running away, weeping, his eyes are crying, the tears are coming out, he's running away from mother's take. And how can that personality be God? How can that personality is born from a mother and father? And that's what their idea is about. And that's why it's very hard for them to accept someone as a God who has a father, mother, who is like a boy, who is crying, who is doing some naughty things. It just, they are not able to accept. But actually, Srila Prabhupada writes here in the purport that he has unlimited number of father devotees. If we have a father, Why can't Lord have a father? Why can't Lord accept a father for loving relationship? And not one or two. Prabhupada says unlimited number of father devotees. Prabhupada writes. Why father devotees? Actually, Lord is father of everyone. But out of love, Lord accepts devotees as father. Like father always serves son. And hence, some devotees have a desire to serve Lord in the fatherly way, and that's why Lord accepts them as a father, and they let the fathers to serve, and the Lord serve. They serve the Lord in that way. So this Atri Muni, he had the desire to have Lord as his son. Lord becomes pleased, and he gave himself as the son of Atri Muni, and that is what mentioned in Canto 11. We'll see the Dattatreya story in Srimad Bhagavatam later canto. So many detailed chapters after chapters are given. How he there is a story of 24 gurus, that how he's learning from everyone, fire, water, sky, mountains, they all are from the, as a in the nature, they are all as a teachers for him. He's saying from the mountain he learned how to serve others. Mountain produces so many things, so mountain love how to serve others. From the tree, he says, I learned from the tree that how to dedicate one's whole life for the benefit of others. The tree dedicates the full life for benefit of others, giving fruits, vegetables, shadow, even wood, everything. From the sun, he says, I learned how to avoid entanglement, even while coming into the contact with the sense objects. जैसे sun, sunlight जहाँ भी पड़ता है, that place becomes purified by the sunlight, but the sun doesn't get affected. In the same way, in Canto 11, all these pastimes will come, hopefully, if we reach there. That how, even being with the sense objects, how the sun remains untangled or sun doesn't get affected. In the same way, we can also avoid entanglement while coming into this sense objects. So that's the Dattatreya. Very nice. Prabhupada mentions so many important points in the purport as well. So that is the Dattatreya incarnation of the Lord. Let's do text number 5.
Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Verse 5. Taptam tapo vividloka shishakshaya me adau sanat swatapasa sachatu sanobhuta prakalpa samplava vinishta mihi tattvam samyag jagad muneyo yad chakshatmana. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. To create different planetary systems, I had to undergo austerities and penance. And the Lord, thus being pleased with me, incarnated in 4 sons, Sanaka, Sanat Kumara, Sanandan, Sanatana. In the previous creation, of the spiritual truth was devastated, but the 4 sanas explained it so nicely that the truth at once became clearly perceived by the sages. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Arshit Prabhu. With regards to the previous verse, where the devotees have a different kind of rasas, loving relationship, and especially parent Vatsalya Bhava. Once Prabhupada met a person and he said, I am God, or I want to become God so that I can control everything. And Prabhupada said, you are trying to become God to control everything, but we, the devotees, we control the Lord also. We control God, because God gives himself, he surrenders himself. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. So Lord, just like we see here, Vatsalya Bhava, he said, if you want to become a God, we will take a stick and run behind you, and you will be crying. So that is what Prabhupada mentions once to devotees. We will control, we are devotees, we control Lord as well. Here in text number 5, it is mentioned to create different planetary systems, I had to undergo austerities. कौन बोल रहा है ये?
ब्रह्मा जी
किसको
से
बोल रहा है?
नारद
So conversation, remember, it is happening between Narad Muni and Brahma Ji. And how this conversation started between Narad Muni and Brahma Ji?
Prabhu Narad Muni went to Brahma ji and he said that you are the superior most and you have made everything, but he was also had a doubt. He said, why do you meditate on
That's
some?
right, yes. But why this Narad
Before
Muni and
that,
Brahma
before
creation
that,
came?
Parikshit Maharaj asked the question from Sukdev Goswami, and Sukdev Goswami is explaining that I will explain the same thing which asked by Narad Muni to Brahmaji. So I will explain that. So that's how the story started of Narad.
Perfect. Very good. So yeah, just keep the context theme in the mind so that it will be easier to remember the flow of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Brahma says here, I had to undergo austerity and penances to create these planetary systems. So when Brahma was creating these planetary systems, performing his seva, Lord appears as four Kumaras. That is what mentioned here. Sanaka, Sanat Kumara, Sanananda, and Sanatana. Four Kumaras are mentioned. Four Sanas. Prabhupada writes in the purport, Sana is used in the sense of charity. Sana means charity. If someone, it means that if someone gives everything in charity for the Lord, how Lord reciprocates? Lord gives himself in charity to devotees. अगर कोई सब कुछ चैरिटी में भगवान के लिए दे देता है, भगवान खुद को उनके लिए दे देते हैं. ये यथा माम प्रपद्यते. Again that comes. In the purport, Prabhupada writes so many beautiful information at the क्या होता है प्रीवियस मिलियनियम में. वी नो ब्रह्मा's one day 1000 yoga cycles, Brahma's one night 1000 yoga cycles. So whenever at the end of Brahma's one day, when the night starts, the partial pralaya happens. At that time the whole planetary systems and up to the certain level, the partial pralaya happens. उस टाइम पे क्या होता है, previous millennium, the knowledge of the Supreme Lord is lost. All the knowledge was gone in the previous millennium. क्योंकि एंड होता है कल 1000 युगा साइकिल्स, दिन का एंड होता है, फिर रात की शुरुआत होती है. सो ऑल द नॉलेज फ्रॉम दिस क्रिएशन इज गॉन. सो नाउ नेक्स्ट डे मॉर्निंग अगेन द क्रिएशन हैज टू बी डन. लेकिन ब्रह्मा के लिए व्हाट इज द पॉइंट ऑफ डूइंग क्रिएशन अगेन? बिकॉज द होल पॉइंट ऑफ क्रिएशन इज to the living entity, they get the opportunity. The living entities who are envious in spiritual world, they are coming in this world and they get the knowledge, transcendental knowledge मिलेगा, भगवान के बारे में ज्ञान लेंगे, then they will be going back. Otherwise, what's the purpose of creation? What is the meaning of the creation? So it is a prime necessity that by knowledge only people would get liberation. So now if you read this the translation ki two lines, na, last two lines if you read, in the previous creation the spiritual truth was devastated. At the end of the millennium, the spiritual truth, जो knowledge है, transcendental knowledge, चला जाता है. सत्य युगा, त्रेता, द्वापर युगा, त्रेता युगा और कली युगा. End of कली युगा, no knowledge is there about the Lord. So in the translation it is said, in the previous creation the spiritual truth was devastated, but the four sanas explained it so nicely that the truth once became clearly perceived by the sages. So these four sanas, they are the incarnations of the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, but with the knowledge aspect. So as such, they explained this transcendental knowledge so explicitly that all the sages, they can understand and then they can assimilate this knowledge without difficulty. So these four Kumaras, they come to spread this knowledge aspect of the spiritual Supreme Lord. Prabhupada mentions all this is in purport nicely. Text number 6.
Hare Krishna 2.7.6 धर्मस्य दक्षा दुहितरे जनिष्ठा मूर्त्यां नारायणो नर इति स्व तप प्रभावा दृष्ट्वात्मनो भगवतो नियमावलोपम् देवस्य त अनंग प्रतना घटितं नाशिकुः. Translation: To exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance, he appeared in twin forms of Narayana and Nara in the womb of Murti, the wife of Dharma and the daughter of Daksha. Celestial beauties, the companions of Cupid, went to try to break his vows, but they were unsuccessful, for they saw the many beauties like them were emanating from him, the personality of Godhead.
Thank you. So here, Narayana Rishi, the incarnation is mentioned. What is the first line of translation? To exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance. He appeared in the twin forms of Narayana Rishi in the womb of Murti, the wife of Dharma and daughter of Daksha. So to exhibit the purpose hota hai har ek incarnation ka. So what is, if you see the title of the chapter, it says scheduled incarnation with specific purpose. So for Sanat Kumara, 4 Kumaras, it is mentioned the specific purpose was to establish knowledge again in this creation. Now here in this Nar and Rishi incarnation, what is the specific function? It is mentioned is to exhibit the importance of austerity and penance. Austerity, tapasya बहुत जरूरी है transcendental knowledge प्राप्त करने के लिए. Going back to the spiritual world, austerity and penance is very required. And to establish that, he appeared in the twin forms as Narayan Rishi to make people understand about the success in the spiritual life, importance of austerity. Now, the austerity can be done in different ways. One is the rigid, very strict, topmost or highest. It is called rigid tapasya. That means to remain brahmachari, not to get married, to remain celibate, and to dedicate full life for the purpose of spreading this uh, love of Krishna. But not everyone can do it. Not everyone can be a rigid brahmachari, naistika brahmachari whole life. So there is an ashrama system. So it is said, Prabhupada, I would recommend all of you at least this Purushottam month. Few days are left. Maybe half month is already finished. Read Srila Prabhupada's purport. At least whatever verses we read, utne purport at least read karo. Prabhupada itna अच्छे से समझाते हैं. First 5 years the child lives with the parents. उसके बाद क्या होता है? In the Vedic civilization, after 5 years of the child goes into an ashram of a guru or a teacher, and in that first up to the age of 25, when the child reaches, he lives the life of a brahmachari, and after that grihastha ashram, vanapastra ashram, and 25, 25, 25, and then the last is sannyasa ashram. So after 25 years of age, if someone wants to remain naistika brahmachari whole life and then take sannyas later stage of life, that is the process. Rigid tapasya वैसे बताया गया है इसे. But some people may take the detour. Some people take grihastha ashram, and then it is said up to 25 to 50 they stay with the family. Then vanaprastha, they slowly starts detaching, and then they can take sannyas also later. It is given the example like if a person is going from Melbourne to Sydney, driving 1,000 kilometers, they can take a detour. कहीं बाहर exit लेके कहीं जा सकते हैं. They get and then they come back to the route again, and the goal is same, going to Sydney. So it is said that to become brahmachari or to stay naistic brahmachari and take sannyas is the swiftest way to go back to Godhead. Very fast, swiftest way. But if someone is not ready and they are in the grihastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, and that way if they go, that is called the safest way. At least, if you are not ready, take the safe way. जैसे कोई सीधा ड्राइव कर सकता है 500 किलोमीटर इधर से, लेकिन if someone is sleepy, if someone is not able to do that, then they take exit, वो फ्रेश हो जाते हैं और फिर से वापस रोड पे आ जाते हैं. So but the problem is, when you take exit, भूल नहीं जाने का हमारा गोल वो है, सिडनी जाने का गोल है. We take exit and we get entangled there. अरे यहाँ पे तो सब कुछ इतना अच्छा है, सब कुछ कंफर्टेबल है, यहीं पे रह जाते हैं, and then the goal we forget. So that's why one is swiftest, yes, but if we are not ready, another way is safest way that is given. So here the Lord appeared as Nar Narayan. Incarnation बताया गया इधर नारायण. It will come in the 4th canto, first chapter में इनका story आता है. And Prabhupada also doesn't go in details in all these purports about the story, because very detailed description, sometimes multiple chapters are there in the future cantos of Bhagavatam. But here the specific purpose was to the principle of strict tapasya, not getting married, not getting into the association of the woman. And uski वजह से sometimes what happens, some brahmacharis, or here especially it is mentioned, sometimes the demigod becomes envious when someone tries to become like this strict tapasya. And especially it is mentioned here, the demigod would try to break their vows. क्यों? Mainly Indra, because here what happened in this specific pastime, Narayan doing so much austerity, so much purity, that Indra became fearful about his position. We discussed yesterday how Indra is like a position. जो person बहुत pure, very high elevated stage पे पहुंचता है, that person becomes Indra. If there is no one available, then Lord can also take the position of Indra. We saw that yesterday. Now, when this Narayan Rishi, Narayan especially was performing very strict, rigid tapasya, Indra became fearful of his position. He started worrying. कि अभी तो मेरा position गया. So what he does is to break his tapasya, Indra sends Cupid, Kamdev, along with Apsara. And we know that how Kamdev shoots arrow. Kamdev carries bow and arrow. और जिसपे भी बाण वो arrow डालता है, that person, we see that how Indra sends Cupid along with the Apsara to disturb the meditation of this Narayan Rishi. But क्या होता है? Lord is not disturbed. Instead of that, Lord just smiles. वो देखता है कामदेव को, अप्सरा को, and then Lord just smiles. Prabhupada beautiful analogy देते हैं purport में. Prabhupada writes that the owner of a sweet shop is not attracted to sweets. जो हलवाई होता है उसको अट्रैक्ट नहीं होते क्योंकि वो पूरा he is the owner. Either Prabhupada writes Lord is Madan Mohan. Lord is the source of all beauty. Cupid attracts whole world, but Lord attracts even Cupid. Lord is Madan Mohan, and that's why Radharani is called Madan Mohan Mohini. Everyone in the world is attracted by Cupid. That Cupid is attracted to Lord Sri Krishna, and Lord Sri Krishna is attracted to Srimati Radharani. So, Madan Mohan, Prabhupada writes in the purport. So, what happens when Indra sent this Kamdev Apsara? Lord was not disturbed in this specific incarnation, and Lord just smiled. And what did he do? He produced innumerable beauties from him. अपने ताई में से, it is said, he produced innumerable beauties as such, and these beauties, they were more beautiful than the one sent by Indra. They were more beautiful than that. And after that, Apsaras, they realized, their beauty was insignificant. Cupid also couldn't do anything. Indra was also defeated. So the whole world runs behind the beauty. But the devotees of the Lord, they run behind Krishna because Krishna is the source of all beauty. So this is wonderful pastime mentioned here. Let's do one more, please, and then we will stop. Text number 7.
Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7.7. Kamam dahanti kritino nanu rosha dirshaya rosham dahanta mutate na dahantya asahayam soyam yadantaram amalam pravishna vibheti kama katham na punarasya manashrayet. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can by their worthful glances overcome lust and vanquish him. Yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind? Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So the same theme about the Cupid shooting an arrow continues in this verse as well. So it is said, once this Cupid shot an arrow on Lord Shiva as well. But Lord Shiva, because of the wrath, he got very angry and he burned Cupid's body. एक बार ऐसा हुआ था. The pastime is there. But it is said here, Lord is never overcome by Lord के heart में ऐसा wrath, गुस्सा ऐसा नहीं आता. It is said especially, such wrath can never enter into the heart of him who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind? Narayan Rishi ka pastime tha. It is mentioned, how can lust enter into his mind? Gussa bhi nahi aata, lust bhi can't enter his mind. In the purport, Prabhupada writes a beautiful story of Bhrigu Muni. Once there was, and all the sages, they assembled at the bank of Saraswati. All the munis, sages, they assembled and they were deciding who is greatest, who is most tolerant, kisko gussa nahi aata, who is most tolerant of all. Brahma, Vishnu, Lord Shiva, they were kind of discussing, and all the sages, they couldn't come to the conclusion who is more tolerant or who is more great compared to all these three. So they appoints Bhrigu Muni to decide. Go and find out who is more tolerant out of Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. Why Bhrigumuni? Because he was very powerful, he was pure, and he was appointed. Now Bhrigumuni just going out for this specific purpose to taste who is more tolerant. So when he goes, Bhrigumuni, to Brahma first, Brahmaji is his father. But when Bhrigumuni goes to meet him, he doesn't purposefully, with the specific intention he went. So he is not offering his obeisances. वो प्रणाम भी नहीं करता, एज ए फादरली रिस्पेक्ट जो करना है वो नहीं देते. And then Indra becomes, oh sorry, Brahma becomes very angry and his eyes becomes red and वो बहुत गुस्सा होता है, but somehow he controls. But Bhrigumuni sees that he becomes, Brahma became angry because he didn't offer proper respects, proper prayers, or he didn't bow down into in front of his father, and the father became very angry. So as soon as he sees that anger, Bhrigumuni goes away. Then Bhrigumuni goes to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva comes, welcomes Bhrigumuni, and he tries to embrace Bhrigumuni. But Bhrigumuni says, no, go away from me. I don't want to embrace you. I don't want to give you a hug because you have ashes on your body. You are staying with the ghost. You don't come near to me. And Lord Shiva gets very angry. He becomes so furious that he gets his trident, Trishul leke aate. But at that time, Parvati Mata stops. No, shant ho jao. He stops. And Bhrigumuni goes from there. After that, Bhrigumuni goes to Vishnu, जहाँ पे लक्ष्मी जी उनके साथ होते हैं, and Bhrigumuni comes there, and Bhrigumuni does some amazing thing. Bhrigumuni goes and he kicks by his feet on the chest of Lord Vishnu. He kicks the chest of Lord Vishnu, and immediately Lord Vishnu, he was lying with the Lakshmi ji, he stands up and he says that, oh, I am very sorry, Bhrigumuni, I did not welcome you properly. मेरे से गलती हो गया. Please forgive me. I didn't welcome you. I didn't receive you properly. And my chest is very hard, and your lotus feet are very soft. Your feet would have become hurt because it touched my hard chest. Let me massage your feet because they are very soft. And Lord starts massaging, and he says, because of the touch of your feet, my chest has become purified now, and Lakshmi ji can stay here in my heart now. So thank you so much. And this is how he reciprocated. And that's why it is said, Lord is known as Bhrigupad. Prabhupada mentions in the purport this story. The Lord has the sign of the foot of Bhrigupad as the mark of tolerance on his chest. It is mentioned in the purport. So beautiful, it is mentioned about the qualities of the Lord, that how tolerant, how merciful Lord is. All right, dear devotees, 7 we will stop. I will start with 8. Time is up.